What's up, everybody? It's the Sports Chasers Podcast. Coming to you live and direct with your host and your moderator, Kevin L. Warren, along with his fellow co-hosts, Dorian the D.A. Albreton, James the Angry One Warren, Mike Mills, Daryl D-Dub Warren, and Dan K, the Hockey Dude. This is a real sports podcast for real fans. This is a sports podcast with no hot takes, no narratives, just real, unadulterated sports talk. Please be advised that there may be some colorful and explicit language. The Sports Chasers are the defenders of the fans. Now, here's your host and moderator, Kevin L. Warren!
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on, everybody? It's another edition of the Sports Chasers Podcast, the Gridiron Rundown College Football Edition, to be exact. Somebody said something right here. Week 11 of the college football week, rundown edition of the college football. With that said, let me go to the crew. Let's meet Dan. Dan, what's good? How are you, sir?
Doing good. How's everybody doing?
Good, Dan. Appreciate you, man. And the DA, what's up? DA is frozen. It looks like he's asleep over there, but he's frozen.
Grandpa, wake up.
DA, I think he's frozen. While he tries to fix that looks real bad right there, right? He's frozen, believe me. He was just talking. If you can hear me in the comments, let me say something to me, man. Appreciate those that are watching on the sound of my voice on the YouTube side, Facebook side, all that, Twitter, not Instagram yet, but thank you. Also, remember to like, click, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you also on the podcast side, on the sound of my voice, make sure you give us that five-star review. And make sure you holler at us on the comments, man. So thank you. As the DA is trying to fix his DA, can you hear us? He's still trying to work it out. All right, DA, you can hear us. DA, can you hear us? All right. Okay, so DA, as he's trying to figure that out. Dan said he didn't get a chance to watch Producer John, he is frozen. Yes, he is frozen. Dan said he was doing a lot of laundry, so we'll make sure we'll update Dan.
We're doing leaves this week.
Let me go to the first game.
Yo, who's frozen? Am I frozen?
Yeah, Dan, and you're live. We're live. Yes, you're frozen, and we're live. All right, we can see you now. So let's go to the first game. Michigan. We'll go to the game, and then we'll go to what happened to Jim Harbaugh. As y'all know, he got suspended by the Big Ten. But let's go to the game first. From the AP, from State College in Pennsylvania, before the game, Blake Corum warmed up wearing a ski hat that summed up Michigan's attitude right now, and it said Michigan versus everybody. After the second-ranked Wolverines were done pummeling number 9 Penn State, Corum wore a bloody bridge of his nose to the satisfaction of knowing that everybody is still winless against Michigan this season. The Wolverines defeated the Nittany Lions of Penn State 24-15. The Wolverines are 10-0. The Nittany Lions can't seem to beat Michigan. And James Franklin continues to be employed by them, but still can't beat Michigan. He keeps losing to this team. I'm not saying that nobody should lose their job, but he keeps losing to this team. They OC, I believe. We'll get to that in a second. By the numbers, McCarthy, their quarterback, was 78 passing and 60 yards, but it was their running game. Corum, he was 26 for 145, tore them up, 2 TDs. Edwards was 10 of 52 for 1 TD. And I'll say it on the side for Penn State. Their quarterback, Alter, was 10 of 22, 70 yards, 1 TD. And they ran for 22 attempts, roughly 111 yards, No, excuse me, 166 yards. Not bad, but there were some questionable calls by the offensive coordinator. They can't see it, and I don't know what happened. We'll get to you, Dan. What's your thoughts on this game, real quick?
Well, like we were talking before we came on,
Yeah, it's gardening season for you.
yeah, I mean, Franklin, it is what it is. Like they don't have the talent that the other two big names in the Big Ten have. Like, I don't think Michigan ran or passed the ball the entire second half. They just ran the ball down Penn State's throat, and they can't beat Ohio State, and they can't beat Michigan. They can beat everybody else, and I don't know how they fix that. Like this was it Drew Aller. I mean, he's had some rough outings, but he's decent. What was it? It looks like they had 35 runs, 80, 160 yards. I mean, it's like you said though, like with the OC, coordinator, he got let go. And,
Yes,
it kind of hits home to somewhere else in Western Pennsylvania with not calling plays that you need to get first downs and move the ball. You know, but I just don't think that they're on the same talent level as Michigan. Kudos to Michigan. If you don't have to pass the ball, why pass it? Just hand the ball off all day long.
as you said, they kept on running the ball right down their throat.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't stop them. But it is what it is. Penn State's third fiddle in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
And it's probably going to stay that way. Or
Well-
we'll see. What happens when they got conference realignment and they bring in some new players. But yeah, the recruiting's got to get up for Penn State.
well, especially when the Big Ten continues to grow as it's growing, right? So as they continue to grow, they're going to be knocking off one another one by one. So,
I mean, eventually this is going to be the Tall Boy 24 league.
true.
'Cause,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they just keep adding teams. So we'll see. I mean, like I said, it was a good game by Michigan. They didn't have their head coach. I'm trying to think of the dude's name that filled in for him, but he had him fired up. He had him playing well. They didn't skip a beat, and hats off to them, because really, I thought they were going to get kind of hosed on this game because Harbaugh flew all the way. From my understanding, from what I read and saw, that he didn't know he got suspended until he got off the plane.
Until he touchdown, which was a sucker move by the Big Ten.
Yeah,
if you think about it. Yeah.
That was bullshit.
And they knew they couldn't get no injunction, nothing, because what? Because of Veterans Day being on Friday.
Yeah, Friday. Yep.
Friday/Saturday, right? So most municipalities, they would have observed Veterans Day on that Friday. And of course, you can't get an injunction, nothing to stop it. So he gets off the airport and says, huh, what? Yeah.
I gotta watch. Okay.
I gotta what? I gotta watch it from the hotel. I can't go to the stadium.
But they do have a couple nice restaurants in Happy Valley. So
Right.
I mean,
As
at least
Pennsylvania yourself, yes.
Yeah. So I know he could get some good food there.
Okay. Well, we had one food critic on here 2 weeks ago. Man, but let's get into that story, Dan, real quick. There will be no ruling on University of Michigan's coach Jim Harbaugh's request for a temporary restraining order halting the 3-game suspension. This is according to CBS Sports to Will Buckus of CBS Sports. Sources tell CBS Sports Dennis Dodd that means Harbaugh, who traveled with the Wolverines to State College, Pennsylvania, will not be able to coach number 3 Michigan in a big key match against number 10 Penn State. This was Saturday morning, of course. Michigan offensive coordinator Sharon Moore will step in as acting coach, just as he did earlier this season when Harbaugh served a 3-game suspension to start the 2023 campaign. So, Dan, this is basically over this whole alleged cheating them stealing signs and all this stuff. I mean, is this equivalent to like the Astros were doing? Your thoughts?
I mean, I know they have certain rules and criteria that you can't videotape, you can't be in person, blah blah blah, whatever. But at the same time, to me, this seems like Big Ten. Look, you don't like the guy. Every chance you get, you try to put the knife in his back.
Yeah.
So if you don't want him in your conference, do what you got to do
and kick him out.
And kick him out. Just get it over with. Because this looks real petty on the Big Ten for what they're doing. The NCAA didn't do shit to them yet.
No,
they're still waiting to do their thing. But for the Big Ten to step up and say, okay, you can't coach the last 3 games. So out of the last 3 games, who do they got? Penn State, Maryland, and Ohio State.
Right.
So what are you trying to do? Set them up for failure. So I completely respect Michigan and the fact that us against the world, because every time they turn around, the Big Ten's gunning for them for something.
100%.
Now, look, I mean, yeah, you probably shouldn't. Like, if this guy's out there taping practices, I get that. But here's the thing. It's 2023. And we got this thing that's called communication devices, and the NFL has them, and they put them in your helmet, so you don't have 10 guys on the sideline with these big ass billboards with the dumbass symbols and memes and everything else on them, sending the play in. You just cover your mouth. We're gonna run trip right. Box score 21. Blah blah blah. And the quarterback repeats it, and there you go.
You put your Cheesecake Factory menu in front of your mouth, and it goes into the helmet.
Yeah.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying. Shoot. Yeah, I don't know. Damn that. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. That's what I say.
But I don't think it's cheating.
Well, what they call it.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you could watch, like, literally, you could. What was it? Was it the Monday night game or a Thursday night game for the NFL or whatever, where they freaking zoomed in on the coach, and you could actually read the damn plays on his card.
But it's not the fault of any team trying to gain a competitive edge.
No.
And there are some things that, yeah, I understand, like in corporate America, things always roll downhill and maybe roll back uphill, where you have folks saying that they have institutional control or whatever, right? So you're the coach, right? So the reality is this: Jim Harbaugh can't do it all. He can't, he should not be responsible for how many shits a kid took that day. Like, some things you can't do. That's all. That's basically what it is. So.
Yep. So he'll be he'll be suspended until there's an injunction, I guess warranted, and the injunction is lifted, and then he'll have his day in court or whatever when they ever lift it. And
they're gonna sue the shit out of him there. That's what they're gonna do.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, I don't know if you heard, he was having some technical difficulties, and Dan said it at first. The Big Ten looks like they've been gunning for this guy from
again. They want him out. Then that's it. But then when he's gone, you're talking about, oh God, we don't have coaches, name brand coaches to bring kids in. Like, there's only one prime. Like, everybody can't get one.
Well, speaking of which, let's go to that game next. Thank you, D, for that segue. The Arizona Wildcats, number 21, they defeated the Colorado Buffaloes 34-31, last-minute field goal. I think this was a very well-played game by both teams, especially.
Well,
I think and I was about to say that this was a very well-coached game by Colorado. Let me read this by the AP. Arizona coach Jed Fish was out of breath as he emerged from the locker room. All that dancing with his players left them drained. So did the game, which the Wildcats didn't leave until the final snap. True, they've been trailing the whole game. Tyler Luke connected on a 24-yard field goal with no time remaining, and number 23 Arizona rallied to beat Colorado 34-31 on Saturday at sold out Folsom Field. That was the Buffalo's last home game for the year and for the seasons. The Wildcats, they go to 7-3. The Buffaloes are 4-6 and in jeopardy of not making a bowl game as they have 2 games left with Washington State and with who's the other one? Escapes me right now. Somebody pull it up real quick, but yeah, they're in some real jeopardy. Let's go by the numbers. Arizona was their quarterback. Profito was 21 for 35, 214 yards, 210 for 2 TDs. Their running game was Coleman was on 11 for 179. He ran the ball down their throat. Shedeur Sanders on the other side passed for 262 yards, 35 attempts, 2 TDs, but he is again the lead rusher on for their team as he rushed for 42 yards. I'll give it to D. D, your thoughts on Arizona and Colorado as we move along.
Good game. The problem is essentially the same problem it's been. And I don't say it to be disrespectful of those kids. He just needs to get better offensive linemen. You get better running. That's all. It's not so many tricks that you can have on a wham or a dive or a sweep other than having guys out front that can block the guys that are there to tackle. Then your running back can do whatever he needs to do. And it's not necessarily that hard. It's not anything against the kids. But last year they did only win 1 game. They had some new kids in. It takes some time, especially for kids to come together on the offensive line. And yeah, that's it. There's no O-line there. But on the other side of it is that their defense is not great, and teams score a lot on them. So both of those things are offensive lines, defensive lines. I think they have in the back end of the defense are pretty good, but you just can't cover guys for 5 seconds. So no. I think they'll get better next year, but it won't be immediate. And I think they're doing better than what folks thought, but it is not going to be immediate. That's just a joke to me.
Yeah, gotcha. Dan, real quick as we move along.
I was just gonna say, kind of to echo what DA is saying, like, they've basically revamped the entire roster, and to expect them to go from 1-10 or whatever it was to 10-1 is just ridiculous. It just doesn't happen, and that's their biggest thing. Like they were up, but they couldn't do anything in the fourth quarter. They couldn't put any points up, and I think Arizona scored the last. What was it? Yeah, they scored the last touchdown and field goal. They scored 10 points to come back from 31-24 to win. If you can't run the ball, you can't run the clock out.
Nope.
So,
is defense on the team on the field? Yep.
Yeah, so you're only running a minute or so off the clock, 2 minutes off the clock, in a series, and then punting it right back to them. It's tough to win that way. But now they kind of see where the weaknesses are. That they need offense, the linemen. They need defensive linemen, and if they can acquire that and get it'd be the same thing though. It's going to take them a little bit to get the chemistry with if they bring in more new guys, but it's promising and it's moving the right direction.
Yeah, because Deion's going to have good coaches, and he's going to have ex-NFL guys coaching you, and Warren Sapp's going to be there doing what the hell Warren Sapp does, and that's going to be good for kids, but you have to get them there first. And there aren't but so many, these are like resources, right? Like you don't have 1 million 6'8", 300-pound kids that can run a 4-something 40 in the country. No. So to expect somebody to get them all is hard. Now, especially when you got 14 of them in Alabama, 20 of them in Clemson, they're here, but they have already been committed. Next year, just like last, offseason, a lot of kids are going to leave from those colleges that aren't playing, that think they should be playing, and they'll be in Colorado or schools of that ilk next season. So this is just what the new landscape is.
Gotcha. We'll move along to the other hot team in the country. What's that here? Florida State. Florida State's number 4. They defeated the Miami Hurricanes 27-20. from the AP. Ken Coleman, dozens of Florida State teamers ran across the field as their final seconds ticked off the clock and started leaping to the stands. Coleman stood on the wall as fans jockeyed to get near him and revel in the Seminoles' latest triumph. A 16 consecutive victory, undefeated in the ACC, a 3-game winning streak against rival Miami. Trey Benson ran for 2 touchdowns. Coleman hauled in and scored, and number 4 Florida State held off their rival 27-20 on Saturday to maintain its hold on the college playoff berth. Now, listen, there was a play in this game which was very egregious. I don't know what's going on with officiating, even on the pro level, even on the collegiate level. That was a safety. The guy was 2 yards inside the thing. I don't understand that there was nothing wrong with the ball. There was none of that stuff. It clearly said you didn't even need to look underneath the hood. You could have saw it from your naked eye. That was a safety. Let me just go by the numbers before I go on my rant. Florida State, shout out to them. Travis, their quarterback, was 1931, 265 yards, 1 TD. Again, their Benson, Trey Benson, was 16 of 80, 2 TDs. His longest was 38. They ran the ball, they passed the ball, they did everything right. Miami, they're going to a bowl, but I don't know. They're 6-4 in the season. Florida State is 10-0. Looks like they're back in business. I'll give it to Dan. Your thoughts on Florida State and what they did?
Well, I'm probably going to, get burned for this, but I don't think Florida State is that good.
Whoa.
I'm just saying, like, yes, they're 4-0 or 9-0 or 10-0, whatever the hell it is. But that being said, I don't. They play in the ACC. Like, who really, besides maybe Louisville, has been good? You know what I'm saying? Like, and who they play? North Alabama next week is their last game, so they're going undefeated. They're going to play here probably in Charlotte for the ACC crown, probably against Louisville, and that's the game I want to see because Louisville's got a good team.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
And that'll be probably one of the best tests. Like, Miami's not that good, and they hung around. Like, this wasn't like Florida State hasn't really, to my knowledge, that I can remember, blown somebody really out that was an actual decent football team in college football. So it's gonna, it's the same as always. We're gonna have to wait until they play the championship game for the ACC. I think that's against Louisville, and we'll see what happens there. But they don't want to let Louisville hang around. I can tell you that.
Got you, DA. Your thoughts on this game?
Real quick, it's funny, Dan. I disagree, but I agree. They haven't played anyone, but neither has Michigan. Like, I think if you're in the Big Ten or you're in, now Michigan hasn't played anyone, right? Ohio State had the Notre Dame game and they beat somebody else early in the season.
Because look at the Big Ten championship that's about to come out, right? Michigan is probably going to play Iowa. Was it Iowa State? Iowa, and they're going
to or Ohio State's going to play them. Like, whoever wins the Ohio State Michigan game is going to be in the championship from that side,
right?
So whatever that is, that's probably going to be the first tough game for Michigan. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that Florida State's had any tough games either this year, but I just think that Florida State dudes, I believe, would probably fare better because of where they grow up at. I know it sounds weird, but, Florida's a real competitive football state as opposed to Michigan and Ohio. But with that being said, my point is this. I thought, and I think still, that Florida State is the untalked about or the not talked about or the not highly touted top 5 team. Like, everybody talks about Ohio State, everybody talks about Michigan, Georgia. They even skip and talk about Alabama over Florida State. But I think Florida State has a good team. And I think that is going to kind of be like the Robert Conrad thing on his shoulder, knock the battery off my shoulder thing. That's going to be their chip. Is going to be that, no one talks about us. No one says anything about us. So I think they're I think they're close. I think they're, at least people don't talk about them per se.
Hey, we as y'all probably can see, hey, we got a producer, man. So we the real deal right now. We're gonna show you the safety from the game from Miami and Florida. Then we'll move on. Excuse me, Miami against Florida State. We're queuing up, Mr. Producer. Go ahead, you got it. Look at that. He's tackled like two.
Yeah, look at the line. Stop. Look at the line.
Yeah,
You can see the damn line. The line. Look at the line. The ball is inside the line. I don't care where his knee was at. Even that, they would still snap the ball right on the line. That's where they would be.
But I thought go ahead.
If the ball crosses the line, it's a touchdown or it's a safety. These are the rules. But for you to take that damn ball and mark off another step outside the freaking line, come on, stop. I know the guys in Vegas were happy about that, but that's all. That's the only people who are happy about that.
Thank you, Producer Junior. Appreciate that. Yo, we got a producer now, man. I don't have to do a lot of this stuff now. So shout out to the producer, man. His first show holding it down. Dorian Jr., thank you, my brother. Appreciate you, man, as he does that. I'm excited, as you can see. Let me move on to the next game real quick. Well, before we do the next game, let me just real quick talk about Jimbo Fisher. Hey, if you're Jimbo Fisher, you can't be mad. You know why? Jimbo is getting $77 million because he got relieved of his coaching duties. Let me just read this from CBS Sports from Dean Stracker from CBS Sports. Texas A&M decision to fire coach Jimbo Fisher in his sixth season will come at an unprecedented cost. The Aggies are on the hook for more than $77 million to Fisher, alone for the buyout on his contract, a deal which is set to run through 2031. While it's a daunting price tag, Texas A&M won't have to pay Fisher in full up front, lessening some of the burden on the Aggie power brass. Dan, your thoughts?
Well, I did see a report on this, and I believe they won their last game. And I believe they have LSU coming up. Let's see.
Uh-oh.
I mean, week 12. But I want to say that the reason they fired him is because they're kind of stuck in neutral. They're doing the same as they did the week before or the year before. And if he were to beat LSU, it would be way harder for them to fire him than it would be to do it when they did it.
Yeah.
And that is why, from my understanding, that I read, that it was, hey, let's take care of this now. We're doing the same as we were. We're not really going up or down. We need to move on from this. And if he beats LSU, it's going to be a whole lot harder. So they were like, nah, he's got to go. But still, that's a nice retirement fund there. 77 mil.
And look, he's not going to retire.
Oh, yeah, but he's good till 2031.
Yeah, he's not going to retire. He's just going to go get another job and get 2 paychecks.
Yeah, a couple Disney cruises, he'll be good.
That's what he's going to do.
Go ahead, Dia. What's your thoughts on this game?
Real quick.
On Jimbo Fisher, excuse me.
Yeah, the reason why he got fired is the reason why he has $77 million. That's why he's being fired. A school with that kind of money, you can't get any players through NIL to come play here? That's the problem. Like, he's not attracting players, and we got $77 million just to throw out on you. That's the kind of paper they have there. And they're like, look, man, why don't we have, any more players if it's $77 million that we can jerk off? Because that's basically jerking off $77 million. Because you're paying a man that's not there. He's not working there, and you're paying him. And that's the problem, is that we got that kind of money, and we've got nobody in the NIL coming here.
No.
We don't have an Arch Manning, a Starch Manning. We don't have Ish coming up in here for $77 million.
Hey, but they got it.
And that's why they should got it. That's why he got fired, because they got it. Because they got it. That's why he got fired.
D-Dev, so they say that on air. First of all, shout out to my main people's East Coast Gridiron for chiming in, man. Thank you guys. Appreciate y'all, man. If you want a real podcast on football, they also do an awesome job on their side, man. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Go ahead, D-Dub has something to say. I don't know if he's in there, but he said, yo, you got Jimbo fired, bro.
I got him fired because he got it. If he didn't have it, he wouldn't have got fired. If this was Norfolk State and you couldn't get no players and you had no money and you had this record, it's just fine. They're Texas freaking A&M, one of the 4 or 5 richest schools in the country as far as alumni and people giving money and all the rest of that. Like, dude, stop it. They should have had some pros playing for them for the last few years. And they did not. And that's a problem.
No, that's true. That's true. Let me go. We ain't got much time. Let me go on to the other game real quick. Just was checking out here, Georgia. I mean, nothing to really write home about. They are who they are. Georgia's number 2. They beat up on Ole Miss 52-17. Ole Miss quarterback, he got beat up a little bit. But let me read this from the AP. Georgia had plenty of reasons to celebrate before the Bulldogs even took the field. The party never stopped, according to the AP. Carson Beck threw for 306 yards. Kendall Milton ran for 127 yards, and Brock Brewers made a triumphant return to the Bulldogs, who punctuated their spot in the SEC championship game with a 52-17 demolition over Mississippi on Saturday night, number 10, Mississippi. So,
they should be put back to number 1.
I agree.
Because they beat a ranked opponent and they beat the crap out of them. And Brock Bowers is back, and that is a bad man. Like, I wouldn't tank, but if I was the Niners, I would do a few things to get that kid to play tight end. Like, he's really good. So, yeah.
Oh, you're not convinced with Purdy?
No, I'm good, but I'm just thinking Kittle's, he doesn't have but so many years left. We need another tight end. That's all.
Okay, gotcha.
Brock Bowers is the best in the country, to me.
So you showed up for the wrong show, D-Dub. We'll start that here in about 10 minutes.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
This is the college.
I'm on vacation mode along with this team. Don't worry about it. We'll get to it. We going fishing, brother. You see that? I got the bucket hat. Yeah, this is vacation.
Golly, G.
Yeah.
Oh boy, you and Danny DeVito going fishing, huh?
Yeah, me and Danny going with his mom and his dad.
That's right. Right.
Yeah. You know what, man? Hold on. I'm gonna save it, Kev. Go ahead.
This is college, man. We want to.
It's college, man. Hey,
this is Gridiron Rundown College Football Edition. Yes,
absolutely. And just one thing, I've been hearing this thing with they talking Dion going to. I said stop. I'm not buying that. Not leaving those guys, man.
It's funny you said that because the Gridiron, East Coast Gridiron, they just chimed in. And they said how Jimbo Fisher would probably be a good fit.
A good OC.
Be a good OC since
I did see it. Yeah,
since they stopped that, right? So
and he would be. He would be. He may go work for his boss again. Go back to Alabama. Yeah. That's the rehabilitation, right? So you get fired from a job, you go work for Alabama as a coordinator or something, and then you come back the next year, rehabilitated and head coach somewhere.
Yeah, man.
Well,
that's what they do.
Well, that's true. Let me go to our last game of the college before we wrap up the college here. Washington, the Huskies, number 5, and defeat the Utes, number 18. I'm telling you, my man to win the Heisman, Michael Penix Jr. He's got my vote, man. If I had a vote, man, he was. Excuse me. Let me just read the score: 35-28. The Huskies defeat the Utah Utes. Penix Jr. was 24 for 42, 332 yards, 2 TDs. Did not throw the ball to the opposing team. And Johnson was 23 for 104 yards in rushing. And the Utes, what can I say, man? They kept it close, man. But even when they was ahead here in the in the second quarter, right, going into the half, and Washington put on that good defense, even though it's the Pac-10 or 12, whatever. They had some difficulty playing defense this year, but needless to say, they got it done. I'll give it to D-Dub. Your thoughts on for the Washington and Utah game?
Well, like it's just like you said with Michael Penix, man. Yo, that dude is I think he's pretty good, man. Pretty special. He definitely could ball. I didn't watch this game in particular. Being that I was at my own game.
Shout
But
out to UNC Charlotte.
yeah, man, they
Game
tried.
with Memphis.
They tried. But I mean, that's all I know, Kev, is about I think this quarterback he's pretty good, but we'll see. With Penix Jr.
Gotcha. DA, your thoughts on
Hey,
Husky?
I think Penix Jr. is serious. I thought Utah played a better game than I thought. They kept it close. Actually, they were up. I am disappointed, as you are, or maybe you're not disappointed, but it's the probably last year of that conference, and they probably gave up defense 3 years ago before now. So, I'm not really good with schools not playing defense, and the reason why I have a problem with that is because when those schools get to the quote unquote tournament at the end of the year, the SEC blows them out. So, we'll see what happens. But the reality is, you have to play defense. That's all. I got no more to say than that. Because when it counts, those kids from Georgia are going to play some defense. So,
100%. 100%. Dan, your thoughts?
Oh yeah. Can I get real quick? East Coast Gridiron, you're right. Jaden Daniels is also a contender for that Heisman, but LSU stinks. So, but yeah, there you go. I'm done.
Now, your thoughts on Washington and Utah, the Utes.
Hey, say I saw a little bit of this game, and like you said, I think Penix, he's a real deal. I think it was in between the third and fourth quarter. He got the whole team on the sideline together, gave him the pep rally speech, got them together, kept them focused, because they're one of those teams that are out there on the fringe, of being undefeated, and I was trying to think like the scenario, like you could actually have like 4 or 5 teams with
that are undefeated.
Or one loss that now drags in 3 other teams, and you're back to the same thing of, what do you give the merit to? So them win this game, because like Utah, they struggle a little bit on offense throughout the year, but it seems like every time I see them or like playing these Pac-10 teams, their defense has been able to lock teams down. So really, it was what 28 at half, and they did nothing after half.
Second half. You didn't do nothing in the second half, man. I mean,
offensively, no, but that's kind of the thing. You got to be able to score. You got to be able to move the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it? The dude threw 2 interceptions.
Throw the ball to the other team. That doesn't work.
They really didn't run well. So the offense kind of stymied them, or this might have even been a closer game. But hats off to Washington, because they're going to end up playing Oregon in the Pac-10 championship. And what happens if Oregon now beats them and they're both 11-1?
Well,
neither one of them gets in. You know what? Because this is the last year of the Pac-10 or 12 or 4 or bag
whatever it is,
the bags packing Pac-12, whatever. They're going to let one of those teams in, whether they really deserve it or not. But this is the year for Washington or Oregon to make it, because they're going to be somewhere else next year. So, and wherever they go next year, it's going to be harder for them to make it.
So that means Penn State, Michigan, they're not going to make it.
Oh, one of those teams not making it. So, but Penn State plays Ohio State. So they're both in. So
excuse me, Michigan, Ohio State. That's what I meant to say. Excuse me.
Whoever loses that game is out.
Now, we say that, and every time we come to this committee bullshit, how is it that Ohio State happens to lose a game, and somehow they just weasel their
I,
ass.
I would rather. As crazy as it sounds, Dan, and we're old. I would take it back and put the damn thing on the computer again and let the computer spit them out. Because you know what? You can't be no one
There's no
mad,
bias.
but a nerd that programmed it. That's all you can be mad at. That dude who doesn't care about football at all.
AI, Google Bard.
Hey, that's it. You know, some cat somewhere that programmed it can program it and not care about football, and it'll be better than some people in the room that are giving, you know. Yeah, let's go to the next game or whatever.
We're done with college football. Thanks for all those that tune in. Give us about 5 minutes. We're going to come back on the pro side for those that's watching. Go ahead. You got one thing, D. Go ahead.
Yeah, one thing. 1 minute, guys. All right. So for next weekend, games to watch. And late night, I would go with Colorado, Washington, 10:30 p.m. I think the Louisville Miami game should be a pretty good watch. Rutgers and Penn State could be a good watch. Those are in the 12 o'clock hour. I think the best game at that time would be the SMU versus Memphis. They're both FCS teams, but they have the same record, and they're very good. And then Utah and Arizona are approximately same type of teams as far as record is concerned, and that should be a good watch. 3:30, North Carolina and Clemson should be a good game. UCLA versus USC. And at 7 o'clock, I will go Kansas State versus Kansas. But if you don't care about any of those games, just get the list your wife gave you. Head out to the yard. Go to Home Depot. There's probably a sale this weekend as we get close to Thanksgiving. You're going to have to get the fryer, clean that out for Thanksgiving for the turkey. There's work to be done if you don't want to watch these games.
I was going to say Georgia played Tennessee though.
Yeah, you know what? Tennessee really didn't look good last week, man.
Still.
All right, yeah, you can watch that game.
You can watch it. Not going to be an easy game for them.
Yeah, I would. Okay, they play in Tennessee, so it should be a good game. So
old Rocky Top.
Yeah, Rocky Top got Rocky Top last week, so Rockies got topped. So.
Well, like I said, we're going to transition to the fourth and short segment. On behalf of myself, I'm Kevin O'Warren, your host and moderator. For Dan, for the DA, for D-Dubs, this is the Sports Chasers podcast. Y'all be good, be blessed. Hey, we'll see you in a few minutes on the pro side. Y'all be good. Let me get that. Where's my producer at? Can he do this? Producer, can you get us out of here? I don't know. Let me see. I'll do it myself right now.